Buon pomeriggio a tutti, scusateci il ritardo. Come vedete oggi siamo addirittura in 4 ospiti, anche se in realtà era già successo con l'altra puntata con Forza Italia, ma oggi abbiamo un ospite internazionale per la prima volta dopo tanto tempo, che è la nostra Dalia, che prima di tutto è una mia carissima amica, ma è anche una persona che, essendo una persona che viene nel mondo arabo, ci può dare delle prospettive diverse riguardo sia alla situazione dell'Islam in Europa e nei paesi arabi, appunto, ma main topic della giornata sarà il conflitto israelo-palestinese e faremo una cosa diversa. Non parleremo solo del 7 ottobre, partiremo da molto prima, cioè dal 48, vedremo tutto quello che è successo e se Giuliano c'è anche un contributo in mappe o altro da condividere, è benvenuto di farlo. Se vuoi salutare il nostro pubblico, Dalia, sia in inglese che in italiano.
È un buon italiano, ma molto.
No, pure in inglese, non ti preoccupare.
Ok, ciao a tutti.
Va bene.
Allora, sì, infatti la trasmissione diciamo che andrà avanti un po' in italiano, un po' in inglese a seconda di chi ha voglia di parlare cosa, però perché Dalia capisce abbastanza bene l'italiano, poi l'espressione orale mi rendo conto che sia un po' più complicata, ma non è un problema perché possiamo all'occorrenza passare a un'altra lingua. Ecco, vabbè, come ha già introdotto Cala, l'argomento è insomma avere una prospettiva sul conflitto israelo-palestinese, provando a tornare anche indietro nel tempo e avere la prospettiva ovviamente preziosissima insomma della nostra amica Dalia che al momento vive in Egitto e ci può dare il suo punto di vista. Quindi Cala, da dove partiamo?
Allora, io direi che a questo punto si può partire dal 48 e facciamo che io sarò l'avvocato del diavolo dell'altra parte, perché almeno avrete entrambe le prospettive e lei vi può dire cosa è sbagliato secondo lei dell'altra prospettiva. Allora, prima del 48 però cosa ci sta? Ci sta la dichiarazione Balfour, che dice che ci dovrebbe essere uno Stato israelo-palestinese, perché prima la denominazione era mandato britannico di Israele e Palestina o solo mandato britannico di Palestina. C'erano stati gli accordi di Sykes-Picot e anche quelli Briand per l'armistizio che sono stati collegati a riguardo. La verità sul mandato, secondo alcuni, è che la mappa era che pochi territori erano stati comprati in effettivo da ebrei e da arabi, mentre la maggior parte, quella che noi nelle mappe del 48 vediamo come verde, era quella che si dice public space, ovvero era terra pubblica sotto il mandato britannico la poteva disporre in qualsiasi modo lui voleva. Quindi fino a quel momento era poche zone bianche che erano state comprate da alcuni ebrei e da alcuni arabi e molte zone verdi che venivano condivise fra ebrei e arabi all'interno della popolazione. E fino a qui non lo so se Dalia è concorde o meno, se that is the truth before the 1948. Dalia?
Yes, sì.
What I was telling is that before 1948 there has been the Balfour Declaration, there has been the British mandate to Palestine, but the map was that the green zone, it was all a public space where Jew and Arabs were live together, but no one have bought the land effectively. It was given by the public mandate of Palestine from the British, and just a few terrains in effect they were bought by Arabs and Jews, and so they were effectively under property of Arab and Jews before 1948. I'm saying.
Exactly, not just in Palestine, in Egypt, in Lebanon. Still in Lebanon, still in Egypt, there is Jew. So it was like normal.
Okay.
Like it was like normal to see all the three religions living together in peace. There was no problem.
Okay. Then there has been, so after the Balfour Declaration, the Mandate of Palestine, 1948, if I remember well, there has been a UN Declaration, quindi una dichiarazione delle Nazioni Unite che decideva come dividere la
terra. There will the colonization of England on Palestine.
Okay. No, we say that the British mandate to Palestine.
Yes.
Okay, and after that, the 1948.
After that,
partition.
what happened when the Holocaust and what happened with Jews in Europe, and after that, that happened.
Ah, certo, lei giustamente specifica che poi c'è stata la fuga degli ebrei europei in Israele e anche quello ha fatto una parte della cosa, mostly from Germany, from Italy, from Poland, despite the Warsaw Ghetto didn't have problem because the Polish in effect were still not under the Nazi regime. It has been a safety reason for the Warsaw Ghetto to move their people, the ones that decide to do that in Israel, in the what we will be Israel. So then we said 1948, there has been a UN partition, and historically, together with the Nakba and what from the Israelis have been called the Liberation War, there has been the problem of the partition of the parts, because already from the first map there was the West Bank and the Gaza Strip division, despite it was the Gaza Strip a bit bigger, if I remember well on the maps. I don't know if you...
The problem wasn't for the partition at first. The problem was when Jews come from Europe and the Arab people, the Palestinian, opens their home for them and gives them shelter and gives them homes and gives them food and all of this. Out of nowhere, this minority of people, this small group of people started out of nowhere that we have the right in this land and we wanted to, this is ours and we wanted a state here. So you came like a refugee, you came running from the horror that happened with you, which the Arab didn't do, and you come to Palestine for a shelter, for a safe place. So Palestine was a safe place. The Arabic area was a safe place, at least safer than Europe that time. So out of nowhere, you decide that, and this is and you have the right to kick people out of their homes and kill them and take the land and make it yours.
No, Dalia, okay, quello, no. What we mean if you can tell the name of the actors, if it was, for example, Menachem Begin, or if it was another character, if it was Jablotowski that decided that, which one of the people of the minority of the Israelis have decided that? The people that have agreed with Hitler to send the people in Israel, the people that they were already there and told to the one of Europe.
No, the issue is how could somebody give a land that is not his to somebody else? So you don't own the land.
No, Dalia. From that side, we agree. It's not that we are saying, no, we say historically what's been the person, what's been, if there has been, you tell the minority of the Jews have decided that. I think they are, because there are many kinds of Zionism. There was the socialist Zionism, there is the liberal Zionism, there were people that have disagreeing with Hitler to tell, yes, we send the Jews of Palestine to cleanse the Europe from the Jew. Which were the minority that started that to tell this is our divine right to have Israel because the Bible says so?
No, the thing is, at that time, Europe was wanted to get rid of that Jews because they were making problems in Europe.
Exactly, yes, because there was the Nazi regime, the fascist regime, except Spain, because Spain, the guy Franco was a Jew Christian, so it wasn't.
So the Jews in the originally were in Palestine wasn't accepting what was happening because it's their land after all.
So the Jews in Palestine, they complain about the Jews from Europe arriving.
Exactly, because
yeah. So in practice, there has been a group of
it's not about the religion here. The problem in Palestine is not a religion.
Explain us who were the actors. That's why we are asking you that. Which were the people complaining with the others?
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, when Israel occupied Palestine, it wasn't enough for them, They weren't having enough of that. They wanted to occupy Egypt, and they launched war on Egypt and Syria and also. So it wasn't just the Palestine problems. They wanted to take over all of this land.
So there was a community of the European Jews, you say, that wished to expand in the biblical way, so to make the great Israel. Okay.
Exactly.
So from what I understood, then there has been a few people. So there has been, as I say, Ben Agim. Then there has been Giuliano. Puoi cercare un attimo il nome del primo ministro di Israele?
Golda Meir?
No, that has been the fourth. Because the guy that decided that the European Jews should not expand more was that guy, and was the one agreeing with the partition. That's why. Because that's true what you said, that were some...
Weizmann.
E poi dopo Weizmann chi c'era? Perché quello dopo di lui.
Sprinzak.
Neanche.
Ben Zvi.
No, aspetta, li cerco io. No, perché era... Oddio, e mo mi sto dimenticando i nomi.
No, il primo era Ben Gurion, poi Weizmann.
Bravo, lui, Ben Gurion. Yeah, because Ben Gurion, it was not, it was the one instead that was agreeing from what you say, Dalia, that the European Jews didn't have to expand on the biblical sense. Because already at the time, you agree with me, Dalia, there was already the religious Jew right that was telling them we should expand and make the great Israel, like the one of the kingdom of King David or something like that. I think in which we agree that there has been this problem between the Jew community of the ones that were telling Israel it's all the ones that was inside the Bible.
Exactly. Do you remember? I have read a story for Shakespeare called The Merchant of Venice.
Okay. Yes.
In The Merchant of Venice, there was in the greedy person, Jewish person who wanted to take part of the flesh of the. This is how the people of Europe were thinking of the Jews. This is how he wrote and he imagined the character of a Jewish person who is greedy, senseless, doesn't love the other, just like think about money. So this is the general image that the European people were having about the Jews in Europe. So
that's true.
Yeah, so this is
no, but Dalia, the question was at the time when the Jewish community from Europe arrived in Palestine, there was also the people inside already, the Jewish community that were complaining about this, that the European Jews, and we were saying, you agree what he did Ben Gurion when he said to the Jewish community, look, we don't have to create the kingdom of David. Israel is a determined place in geography, which is the one said from the British Mandate of Palestine. And so from the attempt to Ben Gurion to say, hey, look, we need to create a state where Palestinians and Jews should live together rather than have something that is something biblical or should be the place just of the elected Jews, the people that in the Bible say that. Because the problem was, Dalia, and what we were asking you was that there were already at the time a religious right or a religious left telling, no, look, we have to create the Israel that is inside the Bible, so everything is from the Israelis, even part of Lebanon, part of Syria, the Sinai Desert, and some part of Jordan too. You agree with Ben Gurion that he was telling, no,
this is like right. That because they say lies all the time, you know? The people of Israel always lie, you know? They said in the book, Moshe, they called it Moshe, the prophet.
Okay.
And it's true, by the way. He talked to Allah in Sinai. Sinai, it's in Egypt, in a mountain called Tur. It's still in Egypt, by the way, in Sinai. So they think, they think that they are the chosen people of God, and they are the only special people in the God eyes. So the God gives them all of this place, and they must take in control of all the Middle East area. So their plan was not just to take over Palestine. Their plan was to expand.
Okay, so you agree with me that there was already the problem of the religious right that was going against Ben Gurion and all the people. Perché tocca fare una specificazione. I primi ministri di Israele, they were not from right-wing parties. They were leftists. They were from the Labour Party of Israel. So the problem was from the religious right. But it was already on the right people like the Likud and others that were like Ehud Olmert agreeing for the two-state solutions. So, Dalia, we can say that there was already the problem at the time with a religious right selling that. But we should do like in the Bible, Israel, not just the Israel.
No, it's not just a lie. There is nothing in the Bible justify what they are
we
doing.
agree in that. We agree in that. What we say is that already there was the problem of these people telling that.
You know, they make me remember there are some terrorists. I'm not denying this. Some brainwashed people from they call themselves Muslim and jihadi and all of this stuff. They say that God is asking them to kill the non-Muslim. The thing that you were speaking about what happened in France.
Okay.
That's it. So if they are manipulating the book to tell to you know to do greed plan and just
I see.
yeah, so everybody's is if you are evil, if there is bad thing inside you, you could lie and you could change the words and you could manipulate the stuff.
So we agree, Dalia, that there was a part of the religious right that was telling we should expand because the Bible said so. Despite Ben Gurion and others say no, it's not true. Israel is what it was inside the British Mandate. It's not something over the British Mandate.
No, actually, in the book, this is not true. There is nothing saying that the Jews should expand or should have the Palestinian or nothing like that. Okay. Actually, in their book, actually, the Jews did a lot of sins that God punished them from having any place on the earth. So their destiny is to not having a place in the earth. Is to be like that without. In fact,
there are communities like the Chassidim and Haredim that are against the idea that Israel is a geographic place. They say it's and that's okay. No, but we were talking historical, Dalia. I mean, historically, there has been the problem for Ben Gurion and other ministers that there was a religious right telling that what is inside the Bible says we should have an Israel.
But it's a lie.
Exactly, and we have been perfect. Right. Okay, let's go over. So there was already the problem with various terrorist crises. In Israel, we remember there has been also the process to Eichmann in Jerusalem. Another thing that happened is in the 60s, they were attacking, for example, the Olympics team of the Olympics team of Israel. The secret services find the people. Remember, the terrorists were not neither from OLP, neither from Hamas. It was still the period when Iran and others were doing battles to Iraq. And now we arrive at the part that we talked the last time, Golda Meir and Sadat. So there has been the war, the Yom Kippur War. It lasted 7 days, if I remember well. The Sinai was taken from Golda Meir, so from the Israel part. The Israel part decided, in agreement with Sadat, if I remember well, to give back the Sinai Desert to Palestine, sorry, to Egypt. Forgive me, Dalia. And so that part has created the first delimitation.
This is not true, by the way. This is not true. We win in the October 1973. We won the war over Israel, and this war was on the 6th of October. Okay. And after we won the war, we took hostages from the Israeli side. Okay. And Sadat at the time, he shocked all the world when he said he was the winner, of the war. And at that time, he said, enough of the war, because he know that Israel will not accept the defeat that it had. He didn't want more wars. He wanted at least, because we lost a lot in that war. We lost people, we lost money, we lost a lot. So he said, okay, I am the winner. I won this war, but I don't want to go further. I took our land, and I'm ready to go to the Knesset. I don't know.
Yes, Knesset. You said correct. Yes.
Yeah, and have a peace talks if the minister of Israel. So the one who offers the peace treatment, the one who offered the negotiation, as you can see, is Sadat, not the Israeli side, because he was the winner. How could the one who lost the battle who asked for peace? No,
I agree. No, it was simply to understand, because I know that Golda Meir was losing. at a time and decided to give up, as you said, as over was that problem.
I
But
think
I
the Sadat
remember
was
that
the
at
only
the start,
president. Yeah,
she
the
was
one who used
standing until the Sinai. Then Egypt responded, and Golda Meir was defeating because arrived. Egypt said, "Look, we don't. The Sinai is not part of your biblical land. It's part of Egypt. We attack. You retake back that part." And then there has been the agreement between Sadat and Golda Meir.
There
From
is
the
still just one part within taking the war called Taba, actually.
Okay.
And in the era of Hosni Mubarak, the president who comes after Sadat, we to the United Nations Court. I don't know the name of the court, and we asked for a rebordering measurement, something like that, and we took Taba because it was part of our land.
Okay. So you were taking you take back Sina that was part of that, also a city called Taba or a place called Taba. Okay. So 1790, the 80s. I think now it starts to bear the what can I say, the Hamas movement. But before, you agree with me, Dalia, there was the Muslim Brotherhood. So
actually, Hamas wasn't created at the time. Hamas actually created like 10 or 12 years ago. So there was no Hamas at the time. It was like
in fact, what I'm saying, it has been created the Muslim Brotherhood. That was already existing.
Actually, no. The Muslim Brotherhood was in that regime time. And
okay, perfect. So that and in Egypt, if I remember well, one of the most important people was how can I say, the ideological father was Said al-Qutb. I remember you told me that.
Khaled, perdonami, excuse me, didn't Hamas win the election in Gaza in 2006?
Ok. 12 anni fa. No,
un po' di più di so 17 years
Dalia,
ago.
22 or 12? 22. Hamas, I mean, as movement.
No, Hamas was a political peaceful organization before they changed.
You mean as ok. No, Giuliano, lei intende come organizzazione terroristica, è nata in quel modo.
No, it was a terroristic organization. Till now, I'm not saying that you call it a terroristic organization. So don't call Hamas terroristic organization. I'm not accepting that.
Okay. In fact, it was one of the reasons why the diplomatic agreements were having problems indeed at Egypt. You're right. Allora,
but they became an armed. Well, can we say that it's an armed group? So they
Hamas became a terroristic organization. You can call the people of Ukraine terroristic as well, because they are holding the guns to defend their land. What Hamas is doing is defending their land. You're not calling Israeli people, the Zionists, not terrorists, but you can call Hamas terrorists. This is not fair.
They're both committing crime, in my view.
Who started this?
But what I was asking is...
Aspetta, Giuliano, perché stiamo facendo comunque l'escursus storico.
Who brought Hamas from the beginning? Who brought Hamas to law?
No, my question was, you said that it was a peaceful organization at the beginning, so I was asking...
when you ask for peace, can you please review all the conferences that Palestine did and did in the United Peaceful Nation, all of that stuff, and all the decision that Israel didn't follow, and then talk about Hamas? Because we have been calling for freedom since over than 50 years and nothing happened. And still the killing of the children and the women and the old people, and still they are imprisoned in their own land, and they are suffering all of this. What you could expect from them?
Ok.
Allora, andate avanti con l'escursus storico.
No, it's not like that. But we have been forgetting the Palestinian case since more than 20 years or 30 years. And when Hamas did what it did, today people are changing mind. Today we are talking. We weren't talking before.
Okay. No, sorry, Dalia, it's because we were arriving at that part on the recent.
You are going to say Hamas is a terroristic organization. I'm going to say that the Israelis are terroristic people and they are terrorists and they are occupiers, Zionists, genocide people.
From what I care, you can say that Israelis are terrorists as well. My
Yes,
question
they are
was
killing 10,000 of the Palestinians till now, and they are
I
still bombing the hospitals and the schools.
I know that. My question was very easy. So you say that it was a peaceful organization at the beginning. So
I'm not in the favor of Hamas, by the way. I'm not in Hamas side, by the way.
Okay,
No, don't worry. It's
can
okay.
I ask you something? So, if you say that it was a peaceful organization at the beginning, so when did they started carrying the gun?
Omar Mukhtar was a terrorist as well. If Hamas is a terroristic organization, Omar Mukhtar was a terrorist as well. In Libya back.
Okay. In fact, let's go back to that time. So we were saying Muslim
I'm
Brotherhood.
not saying that Hamas is right. I'm not saying what they are doing is right. I'm not
of
in
course,
favor of
don't
Hamas.
worry.
But I
No.
refuse to call them terrorists.
Okay.
If you wanted to call the Israeli people terrorists, you can call Hamas terrorists. So if you do this, do this.
No, Hezbollah, in the fact, for example, is called the militia party because it's a party which is a paramilitary organization. I think we can agree, Dalia, to call also the Hamas a militia party because in the fact as a paramilitary organization, like for example, certain part of the Muslim Brotherhood at the time. So we're telling, in fact, regarding Muslim Brotherhood, that it was founded, the principal founder was a person called Al-Banna, and it was the founder of the Arab League Muslim Brotherhood organization. And you tell me in Egypt, it has been created by Said al-Qutb. We agree on that, right? The ideological founder.
But they have their own opinion, and they are free to think as well as they want it. Okay, they have the freedom to speak as well as how as they
In
want
fact,
it.
Dalia, my question was this one, because from what I remember, Said al-Qutb, it was not in favor to create a military. It was in favor to create what is called an Islamic democracy. But
And he was
then,
against that, and he was against what Sadat was doing.
Exactly. In fact, it was divided. It starts to divide in two parts. There was still a Pacific side of the Muslim Brotherhood, and there is still a paramilitary one. So the paramilitary one, from what I remember, are the ones that started all the attacks during the Olympics against the Israeli athletes. Of course, they are not the culprit of the Sinai War. That is a national war between two states. But there has been part of also what it was the various organization. So, for example, the Syrian one that put in the power Assad had this origin. Hezbollah in Lebanon had that origin. The Taliban in Afghanistan had that origin in part, because in reality, that is a bit more skirmished. The organization in Egypt, as you say, it was divided in two parts. And I remember, Dalia, as you said, that some parts was in agreement with Sadat and Nasser. So to let the military govern rather than have an Islamic democracy, because there were elements inside Egypt that were at risk, because they were military people that were on the planet to topple the government.
Thing that make the Egyptian around Sadat, because they think that he was part of them, one of them, because he was very simple man. He was the president of a country like Egypt, and he was a war winner. He did what others couldn't. But you know what? He could talk to the normal Egyptian citizen.
In fact, that was the question. If at the time, in fact, the Muslim Brotherhood had problems with having leader Sadat, I don't think so at the time. It was
they didn't like Sadat ways. They were against the peace with Israel. Actually.
Okay, so that thing, at least in that, they were against him.
Even all the Arabic countries were against the peace with Israel at that time.
Exactly. Is that what we want to arrive, in fact? Because I remember that the first state to say that they were, in the fact, Iran, when the Ayatollah came back in the 79, the time of the peace. Look at the coincidence. And I remember that also the Ayatollah, Khamenei, not Khomeini. No, I think it was Khomeini at the time and then Khamenei. So Khomeini at the time was with the same plan of the Muslim Brotherhood to create an Islamic democracy. Then, of course, what is happening, that's been the war between Iran and Iraq, a bit after, of course, the 80s. And at the time, it was also starting the agreements between Israel and the Palestine part. And that are start, I think, Dalia, we talk about that, with the Likud party. So what is now in power. In your that there is Netanyahu, the party was the Likud, and there was Ehud Olmert, if I remember well. And it was connected, I think, Dalia, we agree with the Oslo Accords. And then there has been also the Camp David Accords after the Oslo Accords. The Oslo Accords, we were going to solve. Mi sa che c'era già Arafat al tempo, c'era già l'OLP. Sì, c'era già Arafat. There was already Arafat, so there was the peaceful organization, the OLP, and there was also Hamas sustaining the OLP. So there was Arafat that was managing all the parts of Israel that were managing the Palestinian parts. So Ehud Olmert was, and there was Mahmoud Abu Mazen president, remember also that. But they were in favor of Ehud Olmert to give much part of the land taken by the settlers, Israeli settlers, to the Palestinian part, to create a gallery to connect the two parts, so the West Bank and the Gaza Strip. There was also the agreement to let the Palestinians have their own police force, because they should have the right to secure themselves against attacks from also militant part of the society. There was also the agreement to have two separate parliaments, and there is just a representation of the Palestinian at Jerusalem. I remember that there was the agreement for both to have Jerusalem capital rather than Ramallah. Ramallah arrived after, if I remember well.
Exactly.
So, and what I was asking you the last time, it was why Abu Mazen say no, and you tell me because he wants war or nothing.
No, because the party was unfair from the beginning. How could you give the Jews who come from Europe and if I remember well, there were less than 300,000 people, if I remember well, and there were over than 2 million Palestinian owner of the land, the original people, and you give the Israeli people, the Jews who come from Europe, 51% of the land. So you give the minority the majority of the land, and you left the original landowner with just 49.
No, in fact, what I say is Abu Mazen said what you say, the wall or nothing, not just to have some
No,
parts.
he didn't say that.
That's what I want to ask you. What happened?
The thing is, put yourself in the shoe of the Palestinian. Put yourself in the shoe of a Palestinian person, for example. Would you accept if somebody who go and take all your home and give you a room and say like accept that? Would you accept that?
No, of course not.
And even you know what? And even if you accept that, you accept that your land is being occupied. If you accept that, you accept what happened with you. You accept the killing of your brother. You accept the killing of your sister. You know what? I don't know.
No, Dalia, wait a second. We were wishing to know the reasons that Abu Mazen said, not yours.
Yeah, because he didn't say all the land or not. He wanted Palestine to gain back its freedom.
But in that case, yeah. In that case, if, for example, then if some Palestinians went to go back in the part of Israel where they were part of, for example, imagine that they want to give not a restitution because it's the correct thing, neither reparation, but let's say that the Palestinians had the agreement to have a free moving in Israel and go back to take their place and have a legal right to that. In that case, Abu Mazen, you think he would have agreed to the settlement? Just to say
that was against Abu Mazen's decisions, because he wanted Abu Mazen to at least accept anything. For now, we could have a table and we could have discussed.
Aspetta, which part tell that?
Sadat.
So Egypt at the time was telling to Abu Mazen to take the agreement.
Yeah, he was in favor of accepting the first agreement. You know.
No, Dalia, you should forgive me because we know that it has been a leader, but we don't know how long he lead Sadat. That's the reason we asked. Sorry, because for us it's 79. We didn't know that already in 91 it was present. So Sadat at the time, so you as Egypt, you told to them, look, start from this, and then you can have a binational state where Palestinian and Israelis can live together. I think that was the idea of the Egypt the first time.
Actually, this is what we did.
Okay, so you were agreeing with the Oslo Accords, and then to tell, look, let's go back to become Israel-Palestine, and then the Jews and the Palestinians take an agreement which lands is of who, and then let's make the two communities live together. But I think already at the time there was some extreme Jews and extreme Muslims that were against this decision. Also that Egypt said that. I think in this we agree.
I think from the part of Egypt, we wanted, at the time we wanted just, to move on.
No, I agree. No, but I mean, inside Israel at the time, you think that some Muslims and some Jews were against this decision?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Okay, so you don't think
Because
that at the time
our
Hamas
time,
or religious right
yes,
had the okay.
because you cannot, you can think as well as you are if the problem is not yours, but if the problem
Okay.
is yours,
Ok, so ora Giuliano credo che poi c'è stato l'attacco a Rabin, perché ci fu l'attentato a Rabin, se ricordo bene, venne sparato Rabin da un estremista religioso, se ricordo bene. I think Dario remembers at the time that the Prime Minister Rabin, that governed after Olmert, he wished to pose again this accord that Olmert created, but has been attacked by an extremist, a religious extremist. And from what I remember, it was from the religious right that the extremist was coming from. And I think, Dalia, at that time, it started the escalation of the conflict that pushed Hamas to take the weapons, or it started later?
No, Hamas started to take the other way, because when...
No, the time. We just want to know the time.
No,
not
Hamas
the reason.
didn't take the weapon at that time.
So not after the attack of Rabin? From
No. Hamas
okay.
adopted that kind of weapon and that kind of way not more than 10 years ago.
So from the 2005, when Gaza Strip has been closed by itself, when it started to be secluded.
Yeah, exactly.
Ok, quindi 2005. Giuliano, nel 2005 chi c'era al governo? Mi sa era Herzog, quello che poi è diventato presidente, vai a vedere.
Sì, di Israele dici?
Sì.
Non era Sharon?
Bravo, ok. So Sharon, I think there was also Peres at the time.
Adesso guarda.
Because Peres was the defense ministry, if I remember well. And despite that, it was a temporary measure, and then under Netanyahu it became a longer measure.
Sì, sempre Sharon era nel 2005.
Ok, so che partito era? Perché ricordo non era del Likud, mi sa che era il Labour.
Kadima.
Ah, il centro, perché infatti, ok, the same of Olmert after the left Likud. Ok. Okay, so there has been the seclusion, and so from 2005, it started Hamas to take the weapon and became a paramilitary political party, so a party with weapons.
When they see that the peaceful solution is not gonna make them reach anywhere, and when they see Israelis are occupying more lands and they are being more violent and they present them in Gaza and everything became
yes, okay. In fact, that's what I want to ask. It was not fault of the Israeli Prime Minister. I think at the time was fault of the settlers that were still expanding, despite the fact that Paris...
the settlers start to expand and start to destroy homes and start to steal homes from the real owner and start from that wall, like to trap people in Gaza.
And that thing, I think, it started. So you tell after that, despite the thing that Olmert and Peres were agreeing to make that accord possible, there was already a part of the Jewish community deciding to expand.
Yeah, they decided to expand on behalf of the original people. They
of course, yes.
Yeah,
of course. Okay, let's go to Netanyahu period, because despite the fact, because Dalia, they say under Netanyahu the occupation rises. Allora, Giuliano, ci sta un grafico dell'ISPI che fa vedere che invece sotto i governi Netanyahu stava diminuendo. E infatti
adesso lo cerco.
Va benissimo, grazie caro. Adesso
Sul
defini
numero dei
Dalia.
settlements.
Bravo, quello. Perché stavano diminuendo, se vedi, sotto i primi anni di Netanyahu. Because there was not the religious right in the party coalitions. Anzi, mi sembra Lorenzo, e lui può confermare perché del centro ci stava pure Benny Gantz nella coalizione, perché c'era bianco e blu in governo con Likud.
Intendi in quale anno, se
È il
precisi?
secondo governo Netanyahu. C'era pure bianco e blu che c'era dentro sia Lapid che Gantz nella
Sì, sì,
coalizione.
c'erano loro, poi erano
E
usciti
c'era Lieberman, se ricordo bene anche, perché c'era pure Israele
che poi
nella
diventò
coalizione.
uno dei principali oppositori di Netanyahu, Lieberman.
E
se non sbaglio.
infatti, perfetto, infatti mi ricordavo quello. So first period it was Kadima and Likud, because the Kadima was a powerful party at the time, because of course there was the old establishment of the Likud also in favor of the agreement. And at the time, as we said, first, second, despite there was the settlements, they were diminishing at the time. Now we are arrived in a moment when some people, and I think in this thing we agree, I presume Iran and Lebanon and others, they were, I will not say that we're helping Hamas because probably cannot be Hamas, we could help later, but some people inside the Gaza Strip, they were doing terrorist attacks against Israel, and they were supported by Iran and Lebanon.
No,
because
they
Iran...
weren't doing a terrorist attack against the Israeli.
No, not the 7th of October, Dalia. I mean earlier.
No, earlier as well. They were defending what was happening to them.
Okay, so you think it was not terrorist
No,
attack?
it wasn't
at the
a terror
time?
attack. No, and you know what? I'm thinking about something I've never shown before. Like, we are against Hamas. We are in Egypt. We are against Hamas.
Okay.
And people from other the Arabian countries are against Hamas. We are against them. We are against
Exactly,
them.
Dalia. In fact,
Who is funding Hamas? Who is making Hamas alive?
Exactly, Dalia. That was in fact the question, because we want to understand which were the person at the time that were in favor of eliminate Israel. We can be sure that Iran was in favor of that.
If nobody from the Arabic world is not giving those people money, where?
So Iran was just moral supporting them.
No, none of the Arabs supporting them.
No, Dalia. I made specific the question. I said Iran. I'm not telling you the other.
Iran is not supporting them. You know why? Always ask why would Iran support Hamas? What is the benefit of Iran?
I mean, because the Ayatollah always saying we should eliminate Israel. Or in all the discourse, he say Israel should be destroyed.
Do you think that if Iran wanted to erase the Israeli state, as it called themselves, would have been any Israeli state till today? If the Arabic countries, with all those money they have, all this...
No. In fact, I'm saying just Iran, because I don't think all the other countries was that.
If Iran wanted to eliminate or kill the Israeli, all of the Israel, would have any of them survived till today? I don't think so.
That's true. So you think Iran said that just for...
None, because you know why? Because Iran, they are Shia. I don't know if you know about...
No, yes, Shia and Sunni, yes, the difference.
They are Shia and they are against Hamas, because Hamas is not Shia. So
that's an interesting point.
Hamas. Yeah, so
Iran, but the question is why the Ayatollah in Iran then every time ask for the destruction of Israel then? It's for political control, political propaganda.
Yeah, he just wanted to like look good in front of his people.
And do you think he does the same now, for example, Erdogan during
Exactly.
Okay.
If you're in favor of the Palestinians that much, why aren't you helping them at all? And instead of saying all this propaganda and all this, these big words.
That's an interesting point. So you think if it was like that, they would have done like the Egypt to try to open a diplomatic summit?
Exactly. So let me tell you something. Everyone learn something. If you wanted to think about anything, just ask why. Because if any person on this earth is doing anything he's doing for a favor, for a reason, for a goal. So, for example, if you ask yourself, is Iran helping Hamas? Look at why Iran would help Hamas. What is the benefit of Iran from helping Hamas?
Because they say that Israel should be destroyed. You will say for that reason they do that. Because every
if they
time they
wanted
say,
to destroy it, it wouldn't stand. They're saying this because they know how their people or the Muslim around the world, because
we'll ignore the problem inside their country.
Palestine is a holy land. They have it have their own meaning and its own religious
Okay.
meaning in the minds of the Muslims, and they have they it was the one before Mecca. The Muslim were used to pray in its way, its side before Mecca. So they have its religious big meaning for the Muslim. So if he says this, his people in the Arab world think,
Okay. So they do that for a reason of religious and political control.
and his people will love him. He will look good in front of you. It's the same
And
thing.
do you think? In fact, Dalia, my question: do you think that Hezbollah has done the same in Lebanon for that reason to maintain their political activism?
Exactly. But nobody's helping Hamas. If all of those rich countries which have all this weapon, all this equipment would really help Hamas, Israel wouldn't stand till today. So this is all for the show,
That's interesting. No, because in fact another thing that we know is that Giuliano, la cosa che Netanyahu dava soldi a Hamas quando è successo? Durante il primo o durante il secondo governo?
È una cosa che va avanti da un bel po'.
Okay, because we know that thing, Dalia, that Netanyahu at the time, because it was against the weakness of Abu Mazen, it was funding Hamas because it thinks it was a better partner.
The one who's funding Hamas is Netanyahu himself.
No, that is true. You think Netanyahu created himself Hamas in that way?
Exactly. You know why?
Okay.
You know why? You know why
Well,
Netanyahu?
a pretext to not make the solution of the two state.
No. You know why Netanyahu is giving money to Hamas and he's giving them the power?
It was to stop Fatah in West Bank, from what I know.
No. Because he wanted to achieve the plan he didn't at the past. You know what his plan is? To provoke Hamas to do something, to act on that way, and kill all the people in the Gaza Strip, so or make them fly to Egypt, so the problem will be ended, and then the other part of Palestine will do the same, and they fly to Jordan, so they will take over all the land of Palestine at the end. And after they are doing this with the help of the Western and the European silence and the help of America, they will move to Jordan, and then they will expand as it's their plan from the beginning. Can you think of this logically? You will think of it. And it's logic.
I mean, I can think, Dalia, about the fact that wants to reunify Israel in that way. That can be also, in a humanitarian sense, stupid. I agree with you. But I would agree that he done that now because he has the religious right in his coalition. I think
they are talking about in Egypt. What they are talking about in Egypt?
Yeah.
The people of Egypt. We have information that the Americans the Americans are offering President El-Sisi a very big how can I say,
amount of money, help, aid,
to allow the Palestinians to come to Egypt, allow the Palestinians of Gaza to come to Egypt, so they empty Gaza and they took over Gaza. Okay. But he refused.
No, we know about that, to put a temporary ban on the Sinai Desert.
We have seen this movie before, by the way. It's not temporary.
So your scare is that they will remain there on the Sinai Desert.
They wanted to push them in Sinai, so they stay there, and they took over the land. And after that, they make the thing. They fund Hamas, so Hamas will hit Egypt, then Israel will hit back because he will take over Egypt as well. And the same with Jordan.
Okay.
Is this makes any sense for you? Other than
No,
this silly,
I mean,
idea
from
of allowing fun.
from this perspective, I think the Israelis that are protesting against Netanyahu at this time, they have a point.
You
Because
know
if
why
he's
they
doing
are
all that,
persecuting Netanyahu? Because they are, they are living in fear now. His plan didn't work out. The
I
Palestinian,
mean,
the Palestinian prefer dying in their land by not leaving it. Don't you know that there is a tunnel under the ground and the Palestinian can come to Egypt
that's true.
from
Of
it?
course, yes. No,
So
I
they
know
refuse
about
to
the
leave their land.
underground thing.
They
Yes.
refuse to leave their land, and they prefer to die in their land, not to leaving it to Egypt or Jordan.
Why not to Egypt and Jordan if we will be partner to them? They will help. I mean, Egypt already helped at the time of the Accords, already helped with the
Okay. This
summit.
is funny. This is funny. If I am the owner of the land and you threatened me and you threatened me to kill me and I left the land for you, what will be left from Palestine or the Palestinian? If already the landowner leave it for the occupier, would be any Palestine to survive?
I understand what you mean. I mean, there will be other people taking that land rather than the Palestine. You say, if it
No,
will be empty.
I'm saying if you run away from the occupier and left your land to them, what will happen?
No. I'm saying another hypothesis. Let's say that Netanyahu now doesn't have possibility to do that plan that he said, that just is destroying Hamas, and then he wants to do what the Democratic Party has banned because there is this big Palestinian voice inside
Let
the
me tell you
Democratic
something
Party in the
funny.
United States.
Netanyahu is trying to destroy Hamas almost 30 days ago. Did he destroy them?
I mean, they didn't do because they say they need the time, they need to do the ground operation, they need to
No,
do
he
this.
didn't destroy them because his attention is not to destroying Hamas. He wanted to destroy the Palestinian, the innocent one, the civilians. So the one who's killed is the Palestinian. The one who's destroying the Palestinian, the innocent, the civilians, not Hamas. So it's a lie. It's a big lie that he wanted to destroy Hamas because he knows that he doesn't want to destroy Hamas.
I mean, from what we were telling you is that in Israel there have been a lot of protests because Netanyahu, it was not neither releasing the hostages,
Because his plan didn't succeed. Because the Palestinians did run away from their land as he was planning to. The Palestinians didn't run to Egypt. They thought that when he do this, they will get rid of those Palestinian bad people, Arabs, and they will take over the land. But this didn't happen. So his plan.
By the way, I want to ask you this question because Giuliano, ti ricordi ci sta l'articolo nel 2016 che Lieberman aveva avvisato di questo esercizio, che avrebbero fatto questa cosa nei prossimi anni, che si stavano addestrando per... I explain you that in English, Daria, sorry. There was this prime minister from the secular right that had agreements with Putin, and Putin now, they are siding with Palestine, but on purpose to let the people not talk about the Ukraine conflict. Avik Lieberman was telling that there were already the proof that at the time we were preparing for this attack in the 7th of October, and he said that the security cabinet and Netanyahu itself, that it was his coalition partner, he didn't say nothing. He said, no, it's okay, will not happen anything. Do you think, Dalia, then there was already a purpose from Netanyahu to ignore this thing? Because if we can imagine, if already Dalia, at the time, the Shin Bet and the Israeli Secret Service, the Mossad, it was possible for them to prevent these terrorist attacks, we were not arriving at this point. I think
The news, there is attacks going. The news is.
No, that was I'm asking. I say that Netanyahu on purpose made escalate the attacks at this point, if you say so, because it was his plan.
The plan was, the plan was feeding Hamas, okay? Feeding Hamas.
And we agree on that. In fact, what I'm telling
provoking them to get to an extent to do some, some cliche show, some show in front of the world that he will take it as an excuse to invade Gaza and kill the Gazian people,
Okay.
or make them escape to Egypt, Sinai, or to Jordan from the other way. But his plan didn't work till now because the Gazanian people, the people of Gaza, didn't fly away. They prefer to die.
Gazinians? It's not Gazawi in your language.
No,
We
we
call
say
that Gazawi. Ah, strange.
they call
No,
them.
no, Dalia. In fact, what I was asking, then, if they will respect Lieberman, if Lieberman that was telling that the security cabinet, we would say, "Oh wow, that's true. Let's go to Gaza to destroy Hamas." We would not have arrived at this point, I presume.
You know what? If Netanyahu wanted to destroy Hamas, as he would say, he will not like launch a war on all Gaza. He would find a way to find Hamas people in peaceful way and kill them or destroy them.
So
as
you
he
say
would.
that would have done like in the 60s and the 70s with their secret agents.
Exactly.
Ok.
Excuse me, I think
Giuliano, sì,
maybe,
fai le domande te, scusami.
no, maybe not all of the leaders, but some of the leaders are not actually in Gaza. Is that correct? They are actually living in other countries.
Exactly.
Ok.
And you know what? Hamas is bigger than, I think, bigger than what we thought them.
No, in fact, what I was asking, do you think that Hamas has the support of the Muslim Brotherhood, or at least of the military faction of them?
I don't think so. You know why? Because the way Israel is making it very hard for them even to breathe. How could they accept help from the other? You know what? They are living exactly in some kind of prison, and the Israelis are making them live in a prison in Gaza. How could they even get help from the other countries? And if the other countries are helping Hamas for real, why the other countries like Egypt or the Arabian countries, which have
No,
all
no,
this
no.
money
You don't
and
think
all
that
the
Egypt is
equipment?
helping? No, in fact,
I'm not talking
from
about
Egypt,
just Egypt. I'm talking about the other. You once mentioned that Qatar maybe is doing something.
No, Egypt, I think, is the one that is not doing anything. On the contrary, is helping with the
This is
humanitarian
why I'm
aid.
angry, because we are not doing anything. We're just
Exactly. I
standing and
think
seeing. And this is
because
bad.
from what we understood, the ones that they want to create chaos on the chaos already from Netanyahu or whatever it happened that let this thing happen. We know that Russia is doing that to
No,
distract the people.
the president of Russia, Putin, is a very stupid man. He just wanted to grab that attention and make a show.
Exactly.
He
So we
was
know
talking
that he's
about the
doing that.
fairness and all of this stuff, and he's invading Ukraine.
Okay, perfect. In fact, Iran, you say, is doing that to maintain the political control because otherwise the Ayatollah
They're
will be
making show as
defeated.
like Putin, They are just,
Okay.
some kind of deceive for their.
And
but they're
Erdogan
not
is
doing
doing the
anything.
same then.
Like Putin, Iran is like
Okay.
Putin.
So both Iran and Russia
And
are doing
Hezbollah
that
as
for
well.
this reason.
And Hezbollah as well.
And Hezbollah,
In
okay,
Lebanon.
perfect. And then we ask you this question, Dalia, because we saw that, for example, in Saudi Arabia, there is a conflict inside the royal family, because all the ministers are people of the Salman royal family.
Exactly.
And we know that some people are more conservative than the prince, because the prince wants to do like Egypt is doing, so to de-escalate the conflict, to make them stop. Why instead do you think the conservative faction of the Saudi Arabia wants to maintain this war active and let it, at this point, from the Gazawi perspective, let Palestine go to the dust?
Actually, what most of the public is doing, and this is shame for them, by the way, is just boycotting the brand of that supporting Israel.
Do you think also in Saudi Arabia?
I don't think Saudi Arabia is doing anything. Saudi Arabia is making festivals nowadays. The Riyadh season. Didn't you
So
see it?
they
People are dying in Gaza and getting bombed, and they are making,
No, we were
festivals.
knowing that because we are following the news, and we know that the foreign minister of Saudi Arabia had asked to the Israeli ambassador to go out, so they don't have any more an Israeli.
No, I didn't hear
embassy.
anything like that. No, I didn't hear anything like that. Actually, Saudi Arabia was about to, to make a deal with Israel like a few days before.
No, we know the Abraham Accords, because they were in
Yeah.
favor of the Abraham Accords with other countries. Also, Egypt was inside that. It was also to stop and have the two-state solution.
Let me tell you something about the Saudi Arabian people, if you don't know, the public.
Okay.
itself.
And then we
The
go to
public in
Islam,
Saudi
because at
Arabia-
least we have the connection.
Yeah, and public in Saudi Arabia have so much welfare, have so much money, so they always follow the prince of their land. Even if the one who was against him, what would we do? They would, pray to God that will save the Gazanian people. This is all what they can do.
Ah.
Even not like the Egyptian, we go on, we go and we we will go on the social media and we ask for not buying from the brand that's supporting Israel, and
In fact, from what I know, what we are doing, the products boycott are Turkey and Egypt, in the fact, from what I understood.
Exactly.
Okay. No, but the thing is that Turkey is doing that for a political purpose, because he wants to do that to maintain the power of Erdogan.
Erdogan is doing this
purpose.
because he wanted, to
reasons.
the empathy of the people, because he always have that kind of, he wanted to have that kind of image in front of his people. That
like a sultan, as you said.
Exactly.
Okay.
He liked
Egypt, but I mean, Egypt instead has a political purpose, that is to try to de-escalate the conflict, as some part of Europe wants to.
Egypt is against the unfairness that's happening, not just in
fact,
conflict.
I remember that in the UN declaration, they both complain about the thing. As you say, Dalia, they are not in favor of Hamas. They say they are against the conflict per se. They want a peaceful resolution. And I think also in all Europe, despite the fact that some support Israel, they are in favor of
we are against the double standard of the Western people, of the European countries. This is a clearly double standard. You know what? We are not expecting you at least to sympathize with the people of Gaza. At least be fair, because we are not seeing any fairness in this topic. You know what?
I mean,
when the 5th of October happened, I saw most of the interview that the famous people and the channels, the CNN, the BBC, and all of this stuff. When they bring somebody from the Arabian side or the pro-Palestinian people, the first question they ever ask: do you condemn Hamas for what they did in the 5th of October? Do you condemn Hamas for what? Nobody has ever talked about what caused this 7th of October to be happen.
No,
nobody ever of them sympathized.
In Italy, as they've been clear of a thing that has happened because of an intelligence lack of information.
You know what? Even the AI, when you write this is very funny. When you write, do the Palestinian have the right to defend themselves? It's very complicated. But when you ask the GTP, do the Israelis have the right? Of course they have. So even they make the machines, they manipulate the machines itself. Because you know what? We are always in the favor of the winner, the power, the stronger part. So if the Israeli and Americans are stronger,
that's strange. Because instead, when we watch the news from the Western perspective, most of the people say the pro-Palestinians rally rather than the government support, because whatever the government
later after, this is later after, but the 10 days after the 7th of October happened, everybody was condemning Hamas. Everybody was condemning Hamas. Hamas killed, there were 40 beheaded babies, and this is not true. Where is these 40 beheaded babies? Where is the photos? Always lies, all the time lies. They lie all the time. And the media is helping them, by the way. The media and the famous people, the actors, all the person are having, nobody have ever come and say, you know what, this didn't happen on the 7th of October.
Well, Dalia, excuse me, Dalia, but I can assure you that if you watch Italian TV, in Italian talk shows, it's full of left-wing professors who would agree with you.
But
And,
when this happened, when did this happen? When those people start to agree with us, when those people start to, know the truth, think better, and all of this, when that happened, actually, it was after the 15th of October. So all those days, all those 7, 8 days, everybody was in favor of Israel, and was, Israel have the right to defend itself. Israel have the right to defend itself. How could occupier have the right to defend it? Israel is not a state. They are occupiers. It's not a state. So the state of Israel have the right to defend itself. There is no state called Israel. It's a big bad lie.
look, let me ask you something. I would like to get when we talked about 1948 and the beginning of it all. I so my I had one question, and there's a question I already tried to ask you when we were video calling, and so what makes this super complicated is that there are two sides, two peoples that who want to self-determinate. They want to claim the right to self-determinate.
Let me tell you why this is so
And
complicated. And this is
can I
not
can I
only.
finish? Can I finish? And the problem is that given that Europeans had been persecuting the Jews for so long, the Jews had enough of staying in Europe. They couldn't live in Europe anymore, so they decided to go somewhere. I agree with you when you say that it was in Palestine at first. It was only one of the destinations, and but then they ended up in Palestine. So the point is that they had to go somewhere to
Why Palestine?
anyone.
Why
But
didn't you
Dalia,
take
the,
from Italy?
the
Take them
point is
here.
that even if they went to South America or any other part of the world, the people living there would have said, "Why here?" So everywhere you
You
look
know
at
what?
it,
What could solve
there's a
this?
problem.
Let us bring them back, everyone, to the country he or she came from, the original country. I think this is gonna solve all the issue. So if your grandparent, no, this is not true. Israel just created it 70 years ago. So if your parent come from Poland, for example, go to Poland because it's your country. Palestine is not yours. If your parent came from Italy, let's bring you to Italy back. It's your
But
it's your country. You have
excuse
homes
me,
there. You have it.
excuse
You
me,
you have its passport there.
excuse me.
I think
This could have. I think we could have said this 70 years ago, but now the state is there. The situation is so
there is no state
harsh
there.
now.
No, I'm not admitting something is not legal even.
How can they get back to Europe now? They have a passport. They have
Not
a
legal
citizenship
passport.
of a state.
Okay, let me like ask you the same question. How could we bring the Palestinians who left their homes in the 1949 back to their homes back? Could you bring them back to Palestine? They
I
have the
would do
right to
that.
return to their land. Okay, if you want the Israelian to stay in peace, bring the Palestinian back.
I would
Well,
agree if it's part of the, they make accords like the ones of the 1991, and then these 1991 accords are to go back to a binational solution, so an
Let me tell you.
Israeli-Palestine state, and also the Palestinian wants to come back. Why not? I'm not against.
Let me tell you something, Giuliano. One of the videos that really, really affected me in the last 10 days. I say, brother who was crying because his sister was bombed, and the way he was crying, I will never forget this scene for all my life till I die. Because I have a younger brother, and I know if something happened to me, he would do the same. The way he was crying, the way he was like he was telling my heart is torn apart. His heart was torn apart. You could see this miserable scene, and I imagine my brother is doing this. I imagine they bombed my home and they killed all my family and they killed me and just my brother left. And you told me about a state and right to defend and all this stuff. Who could bring the family back to this? I think there will no peace. If you asking me to tell me, yeah, this could be there could be a solution, and there could be, make something, even if, we could have peace and all of this imaginary words. I'm saying to you, I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry, because if I put myself in this kid place, and this what happened with me, I've never have peace with the person who did this to me. I've never accepted this.
Look, what I'm saying does not exclude violence and crimes from both sides, and this is
What
not my
what side?
intention.
What side?
Both Hamas and Israelis. I'm not forgetting about that. I know that perfectly. We have videos, we
If,
have
if
photos,
you're coming
we
and,
have
killing
evidence.
my mother and killing my sister, and I killed you back because you did this to my family, what revenge you are seeking for? You already killed me at the first step. You already did the bad with me at the first step. You already torn my family apart. You already steal my home, and you are asking for revenge from me.
Look. If we continue to talk about our feelings and how angry we are, that war will last for, I don't know, 3,000 years, which is not what we want, right? So what I'm
Unfortunately, this war is not
I'm
gonna it's not gonna end. I'm telling you the truth. This war is not gonna end. Nobody will forgive. Nobody will forget, and nobody will forgive.
Okay, that's interesting because what I wanted to hear, because what I was
If the
trying.
Jews didn't forgive what you did, guys, with them in Europe till today, would you expect the Palestinian would forgive what happened with them?
I
Did
mean,
the Jews did the Jews forgive and forget what you did with them and in the past? No.
well, the Jews continue to come to Europe, and it's not like they forgot about it, but they continue to come to Europe, and they continue to have peaceful relations with Europe, even though Germany and the whole of Europe has persecuted them for centuries. Uh, but but my point
You
is
think
that
you think that do you believe that? Do you believe that they have good intention
towards who?
towards what happened with them?
You mean the persecutions of the Jews?
Exactly. Because they are like, till today they are making it an excuse to cry on it. And we did this, and we have this is what happened with us in the past, and this is, this is happening again, or this is all this stuff, this is rubbish all the time. What you did with the Jewish people, they were bad, and you make them even worse. And what they did, they didn't take revenge from the people who did this with them, because you are powerful. So they came to a weak kind of group of people, and they try to take revenge from them for doing nothing. This is what I see from all this happening. And you people are standing with them, not because you love them, because you have your own benefit from Israel.
I mean, my point is that as a person from a Western country, well,
Mhm.
I try to think of a way, not to solve the problem, because that would be super complicated, and that is beyond me most probably. But as a person from a Western country, I'm trying to at least try to, I don't know, visualize or think about a way to make things less worse,
Okay, to make things less
less
work.
less bad. So
Yeah,
and as I listen to you, I understand that there is no way in hell that they can live peacefully together.
actually, no. I'm telling the truth. Actually, if that happened with me, I will never forgive. I will never forgive, because I know how much I love my family, how much I love my brother, how much I love my home, and that, if I ever imagine that happened with me, I will never forgive. But you know what? Give the Palestinians the right back. Give the Palestinians the rights back, and maybe this could be at least some kind of peace, as you are talking about. Give the Palestinian right to go back to their homes, Don't steal the Palestinian land anymore. Stop destroying their homes. Stop killing their kids. Stop stealing their homes, and make the Palestinian who's shattering all over the world come back to Palestine because it's their right. And instead of anybody who is Jewish can come to Israel and have an Israeli passport there. No, but nobody from Palestine could come back to Palestine.
Oh,
At least,
I would be in favor
those
of an
people,
international. Hmm?
at least, do
I
give
would I
those
would
people some of their rights.
no, I would be in favor of an international deal saying what you just said.
I
At
mean,
least, at least
that was the Egyptian solution. I would have been in favor
if
too.
Marwa could come back to her home, her grandparent home, and she could have a passport like anybody, like you and me, and she could have a home back, and she could have a job, and she could have an identity, okay, like anybody else. Maybe this could make at least a temporary, or at least something. Maybe we could achieve something, but this is not gonna happen. You know why? Because the occupiers will not accept that. They want it all or nothing. This is not
I
their
mean,
plan.
but the same side is telling we want war or nothing. What is the solution? I mean, in the 91, we were having one, and we had the same problem like we had today. I mean,
Do
the
you know
thing is
how many?
that
Do you know how there have been more than 50 years the Palestinians are claiming the right to go back to Palestine, and they never have that right. They never came back to Palestine.
that's true.
At least bring those people back to their land. At least give them their rights to go back to their land. At least let them see their homes back again. Let them see their lands. Let them be at least a human like you and me. Don't make Gaza an open prison. Could you do this? Could anybody do this? Is there any force, any authority in this whole world could do this?
I mean, I think that
I think the answer would be no. So the same answer you got to your question. There will be no forgiven and no forgetting, and this will continue like that. So
but at this point, Daya, it will be okay. What they say, some anti-Semitist in Italy, also in other places. At this point, let the civil war continue, so both the parts will be eliminated. And I don't want that, to be honest, because I have both Jewish friends and Arabic friends without any problem, to be honest. And I am disagreeing with these people that want to fuel this war, whether it's the side, to be honest.
the problem, Giuliano, that this thing
Of course, we are not attacking you, Dalia. We are just
unfortunately is being
discussing.
manipulated a lot. They were making it like it's a Muslim Jewish war, or a Muslim or Arab Jewish war. It's not like that. When they killed Shirina Bakla last year, Shirina Bakla is not Muslim. Shirina Bakla was just a Palestinian Christian. When they bombed the churches in Palestine these days, they weren't bombing the Muslims, they were bombing the Christian. So there is a lot of manipulating, lying, some kind of, fake stuff everywhere. So you will not know the truth. So people will get, illusion stuff. So you will get, you will live all the time in the fog. You could not see the light, you could not see the dark. Something like that. So
I mean,
do you think that I wish all the side that will, all the time have war and all of this? Nobody wished
but I
that.
think anyone wants to have that, to be honest. If, as I told you in private, if the Hamas leader would say, look, to make stop the war, we will make us arrested, but we want an agreement made with Egypt, Jordan, and Lebanon to make the Palestinians go back and have a part of the territory, and there will be
Actually, this is
national
what Hamas
solution.
asked for, Giuliano. Hamas asked for releasing the prisoner in the Israeli prison, and we will stop this and give your hostages back. And the Prime Minister Netanyahu didn't accept that.
No,
So
that's true. We
they
agree
are
on that.
asking for
It
peace.
happened. Yes, it's
The
a
peace
fact.
you're talking about. The
I don't
kind of
believe that they would stop even after releasing the hostages.
who will not stop.
Hamas.
I think if they stop, they will be stupid.
I agree with you, to be honest.
You know why? Because it's not the matter of the hostages. It's the matter of their land. It's the matter of their right to their life. To let the Palestinians come back to their land, man. Is that difficult to give the people the right to come back to their land?
No.
Okay, go back to your land. If you cannot bring us back to our land, go back to the place you came from.
I understand what you mean.
Either this or this. If America is so much, in favor of Israel and so much concerned about the Israeli people and just all of this stuff, why can't America take them? America is very big. It's huge. And there is, states that they are complaining from all the time, like Florida, like Chicago, and Las Vegas, and all this stuff. Let us give this juice to Florida.
I mean, there has been this plan, to be honest. They wish to send them in the desert of Nevada. I remember this thing. There was one
why?
of the ideas.
This is not going to happen. They want it.
Dalia, make the conclusive note, then we talk about the other argument, because we go farther with this one, okay?
Okay, let me tell you something like final.
Yes, perfect.
Okay. If Netanyahu took the Israeli, you know what will happen? So the bad people will go from the Middle East, and the Middle East might unite it again.
Okay.
So there was no way to control the Middle East, and the Middle East will be powerful, much more. And you know what? The occupation they wanted to will not succeed. Because when you make them divided, they are weak. When you put something that all the time divided them, and when put some person bad and you divide the brothers, they are weak. But when you take this bad person, when you take this different strange thing that make all time problem, maybe this brother will be united again. But there is a benefit from being there. There is benefit from those Israeli will making conflict all the time. And making war all the time with this and that and that. Even we have the base treatment with Israel, they never stop. They always attack on the border. They always kill this soldier by mistake. We killed this by mistake. We are sorry. We killed this by mistake. We are very sorry. Please forgive us. And this is happening all the time, by the way.
Sì. Ok, andiamo all'altro argomento, that it was about how Islamic people behave in Europe and behave in Middle East, because Dalia was telling us this interesting thing, that when you go to Egypt, or for example in Turkey, despite the Erdogan guy, you see the women that have not the obligation to put the veil, they don't have to wait for the husband to agree with a divorce. They can do it without any problem. He was telling us regarding the fact that in Egypt, he said, it's the Christian community that does that. Ora lo ridico in italiano. Dalia ci dice questa cosa interessante, che i musulmani nel Nord Africa e in Medio Oriente si comportano diversamente che in Europa, e dice che praticamente quelli in Nord Africa e in Medio Oriente, le donne non devono per forza mettersi il velo, non sono obbligate, non possono divorziare dai uomini senza problemi, e hanno i diritti che abbiamo anche noi, eccezione dell'Arabia Saudita, e non gli permetteva di guidare, ma ci può parlare anche di quello. Quindi posso iniziare a fare domanda a Dalia. What is the difference between the way to behave in the North Africa and the Middle Orient countries and the way they behave in Europe?
Actually, what do I see the difference between people in Egypt and people in Europe? Was surprising fact that we are better in those kind of things. Because we have the three religions and we have no conflict in between them. You could be Christian, you could be Jewish, you could be Muslim, whatever you wanted. You have the freedom that the law gives you to do whatever you want. But the thing is, I think, is the how people think. For example, if you are from Egypt and you are a Christian, the church forbids you from marrying somebody from not from your religion or from your caste. It's forbidden. So you have to marry in between the community you are in. And I think the father of the church, he might have hand in making those marriages. So it's the way the basic law of surviving. You keep the community, the small community together, and you make it very tight for them, so nobody can go, far away.
Okay.
The same thing with like the Muslims in Europe. They live in small communities. They gather to themselves so they couldn't be harmed, or they could, stay, safe, and you could, this is the same thing. I think it's not about the religion or something like that. It's about the way people think.
No, but we were asking you, as we told you, because in French instead there is the problem that, as we said, there are people that they do terrorist attacks not connected with Hamas or other things. They are lonely wolves connected with the Islamic State. So it's another totally different thing.
Okay, let me
At
tell
the
you
time,
something. There is not only one manufacturer that making weapon in the whole Middle East area.
sorry, can you repeat it, please?
We have no weapon. You could make no weapon in the whole Middle East area. So we are not producing weapon at all. We are importing
No,
them.
no. We are not asking about that.
I
Wait.
know. Let me continue.
Okay.
So where we are? Those people that making the terrorist attack, bringing this weapon from?
I mean, there are various actors. They could be the West.
Where is the biggest weapon manufacturers in the whole world? Where are they?
I mean, someone would say United States. It's simple and clean.
I think it's the US.
United States. What I say.
Yeah. So
No.
why, and how these weapons coming in the wrong hands of those terrorists? Who is selling them to these people? And who's funding them?
Do you think it's the U.S.? Because from what we were telling you is that these people are isolated. They are not people that are
Let me tell you,
programmed. That are people that want
yeah.
to
Let
disturb
me
a
tell you something
community,
funny.
despite.
If I make weapons, if I'm a manufacturer that making weapons, for example, and there is no demand for this weapon, there is no one is buying this weapon, where could I get profit from? How could this manufacturer continue to work? How could I get money?
I mean, to updating all the weapons, to say that the ones that
Let's
they
play.
have, they are not.
Let's play in some people's minds and give them some a lot of money and give them weapon, you know, and making them terrorists so we could sell.
E posso capire l'argomento, Dalia. No, but what I was telling it was another point that many times what's happening is that you have a community which is very calm, very easy, very tranquil in certain
I know.
part of
It's happening
France.
all over the world, Carla. It's not just in
I
in the
mean,
Muslim
and that's
community.
what I'm asking. Is not what I'm asking. In fact, is that why you have certain people that they can live together with other religions, especially in the Muslim, like in North Africa. When it happens in Europe, it happens that because we were making the example of France, because in France, when there has been all the attacks to the the Jews in France and other countries, the only ones that condemned that, there were few imam, like the Imam Drancy, others, they didn't say anything. And our scare that you say, Dalia, is that maybe what is wrong is the way in which they have been educated to the Islamic
Now let
religion
me
on
tell you
this.
something.
And
Why
yeah,
this is
but
just happening with France? Why this is just happening? All those cases happened in France. No, why not in Italy?
it happened in Italy, it happened in Germany, it's happening in Spain. We see
How many
also
cases did this happen? The terrorist
it.
attack. How many? The cases.
Sorry, the terrorist attack. You mean? Sorry, I mean it's happened one in Belgium. It happened one. It's not, but it's not to say that they should that is fault of the Islamic or not, Dalia. It's not that what I'm telling. What I'm telling is that what is that triggers certain parts of the community to do that. Because
Because they
most
are
of the
not
time,
Muslim. They are just people who get manipulated and played in their minds in the name of Islam to make a terrorist attack.
okay, and we agree on that. And in fact, my question was why this happens in Europe and then and doesn't happen in North Africa and Middle East. Do you think it's because they are a minority and so certain people inside the minority does that?
Unfortunately, I think I have two answers for this question. Unfortunately, the discrimination in Europe is much more than in the Arabic community. You're not going to get discriminated in Egypt, for example, for your religion or your color of face or whatever. You live in peace. We have more freedom of everything. I think in Europe, you I don't know why, but you people get have this kind of discrimination, bullying, all of this stuff. Not just for the Muslim, between each other. Because I've heard from people that even the kids are being bullied in school. So and when you have this perspective about me that I am a Muslim, I might be I might be violent, and might be that, and might be you have this kind of perspective in your mind about me, and I feel myself very very lonely because the community I'm living in, the European community, is not accepting me or not dealing with me like I am equal, or dealing with me in a different way. So I go to the wrong people who play in my mind and make me understand some stuff wrong.
Okay, so you think it's a
Feeding
matter of
me.
education of the Arab
Exactly.
community in Europe. Okay.
Exactly. So you are feeding me wrong stuff.
And so do you think it's also the reason why certain Muslim families, for example, constrain their daughters to put the veil? They constrain
In
their
fact,
sons, for example.
in fact, there is something about Islam is very unique. You don't need the or
Clergy.
the how can I say, you don't need the green light to do something from your parent or whatever. We have a
And what?
book. We have a book.
Yeah.
We follow the Quran. So this book tells you everything you need to know. If you
Okay.
have any doubt about anything in that book, there is a place you could go and ask.
So do you think the problem is the people where do you go and ask in France, in other countries, that maybe
Might.
they give the wrong
It might be.
answers?
Yeah, it might be.
Okay.
But the thing I'm trying to say that those terrorist attacks happening in it's a very little incidents. And not just the Muslim is doing this. There are terrorist attacks from another people, another religions. But why
No,
we
in
are
fact,
making
that was I'm asking about what is happening.
yeah.
That in Italy, we also had a case of a teacher
Exactly.
that.
So why we are making the picture very big for just the Muslim community? Why we are
No,
making.
no. In fact, what I'm selling is what I'm selling. Sorry, I'm not selling anything. I'm not a snake oil vendor. What I'm saying is that as it happens at the time, or is happening with the Islam, and we call that Islamophobia. Now it's happening with the Jews in Europe. And the thing is that now we don't know if that is propelled by the pro-Palestinian rally, or if it's people that already in the past they wish to do that and they're profiting of the moment, or something else is happening that doesn't allow that.
No, actually, I think the lack of information that makes all the misunderstanding. So there's a lot of lack of information about the Arab and the Muslims all over. You don't know anything about the Arab and Muslim. And in the other way, we know a lot about Europe because you know you're feeding us your culture in the food and in the TV and everything. So we have a lot of information about the European countries, but none of them have any information about the people in the Middle East, because you know you just see that your TV who's just making very narrow picture of the Muslim and Arab in your minds. So you don't know much about us. You don't know much about us.
No, I can agree with you, because also I was going to say that we see in fact this Algerian guy called Eric Zemmour, which is an Algerian Jewish, and he's saying the same to a guy that was the former culture minister of France,
Exactly.
called Jack Lang.
Exactly.
This guy was creating the Cultura Araba, era l'Istituto della Cultura Araba.
No, it's in Paris they have this institution called Institute for the Arab
del
World.
Mondo Arabo. The Institute for the Arab World. And the thing is that despite the existence of this organization, we had the problem that many Arab kids in France, they want to learn a second language, and this institute doesn't do anything. So there is the problem that they try to learn this culture, their culture. And the problem, Dalia, is that when they learn their culture, they learn that in a wrong way, as you said. And fair enough, the Algerian guy, which is also a political candidate of Jewish origin, saying that the problem is that they are not learning a good Arab, they are not learning well about the Arab culture. And so that is that created in the West two versions, because there is the Islam in the North Africa that for them it's a true Islam, and then in Europe that is this, that is some people call that the Islam, but that's not the Islam. And some people say that many in the normal Arab community, let's ignore that now there is the conflict in Israel, but most of the time the people that were of the normal Arab community, they say we can live together with Jews. The problem is Israel, not the Jews. They say we can let our women decide if they want to put the veil or not, or dress in the way they want. We can let them divorce in the way we want. They not need go to a madrasa to decide about their divorce. And it seems that there is a Arab community instead in France and in the other European countries that doesn't agree with that. And you say that. So what would you do? Because my idea would be that at this point they should arrive from the Middle East, the expert that they should talk about the Islamic culture, and they think that we should be peace people. For example, Dalia, make the example, Al-Sisi created Al-Azhar, or as a cooperation with Al-Azhar, to say, hey, look, all the people that want to go to Europe, not to do proselytism, but to help the Arabic community in their country to understand what really is Islam, to help them.
Actually, if we have the right information, if the people have the right information, if the people have the right point of view, I think there will not be misunderstanding.
That's what I'm saying. In fact, they say, what would you do if you are, for example, the cultural minister of Egypt, and you know that there is this problem in Europe? What would you do to help the European community, to let the Arab communities to not have problem with these lonely wolves or these solitary men that wants to attack, and they do that for a misunderstood religious reason?
Okay, let me tell you a real experience from Indonesia,
Yeah.
and the part of Asia that they have Muslims. So what they do, because you don't speak Arabic, and some of them are Muslim, and they wanted to know the right, facts about Islam, and they wanted to know more about the religion, and they wanted to raise their kids, and they wanted to get like correct information and good education of what they are worshipping and all of this. They send students, there are exchange programs for students in Al Azhar. So they go in Egypt and they, have their certificates from Egypt, and they go back to their countries, and they, have, be responsible or take the in charge of the places that needs to, enlighten people about Islam.
Oh, I can see.
So the thing is, I think the lacking of information. As I told you before, you think that we don't know anything about the Christianity or the Al Torah or
No.
the Jews and all of
Instead,
this.
you told me that in Egypt you had also the past as a Christian country before to were an
I don't
Islamic
know if it was
country.
it or not, but to be a Muslim, you must accept that you must believe in the Christianity and the Jewish book. So you must
Oh,
believe in all the books that come from God. So if you are a
oh.
good Muslim, you have to, you have to
Believe in
believe
the
in
old
all these things.
Abrahamic writings,
Carla,
all the
excuse me.
Abrahamic religion.
Excuse me, Carl. I think I should go because I was asked to do something here in the house. So you guys can go on, and
Va bene, Giuliano,
I'll
non ti
watch
preoccupare.
the end of the conversation later.
Va
Thank you, Dalia.
benissimo.
Ciao
Thank
ciao.
you. Ciao.
Ciao Giuliano.
Ciao.
So the thing is,
Ok.
it's like a book. It's like a book, and I always like make it like that to make it simple. So the
Uh-huh.
first chapter of the book is the Jews and the religion of the Jews. I don't know the thing, and there is the Christianity and there is Islam. So you read the first chapter, and I read the two chapters, and I read the three chapters. So we are
Okay.
ahead of you in something. We have some added information that you don't. Doesn't make us don't believe that you have, you are following the same God or you are not bad people. No, that means that we have more information than you guys. That's all.
Okay. I mean, but so you will do this cultural exchange. Of course, you will not make them go in all the
Exactly.
countries. I
Exactly.
mean,
So
for example, you will not let go in Iran, for example, because you know they will give a certain interpretation of Islam, which will be problematic.
there is just only recommend. This is just the only one organization in the whole world that does this is Al Azhar. There is no institution like this in Iran
No, in
or any
fact,
Muslim
I
country.
remember the news about Al Sisi that was telling the better way to defeat a certain type of Islam that are not Islam was Al Azhar. I remember that
No,
declaration. In fact,
the first and the only institution that's doing such thing and the correct place, the only recognized place to do this is Al Azhar. No place like it, because Al Azhar is not just a school. Al Azhar is a school and university and a complete institution.
and that is the question that I want to do. In fact, would you love if in the future, for example, the Egypt will try to expand this experience in other Arabic countries, also to prevent wrong interpretation from specific Muslim communities for a political purpose?
You know why Al Azhar is doing this? Because
Mhm.
in the other Arabic countries, the number of the Christian and the people from other religion is very, 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 very small. Yeah.
Ah, okay. Instead, in
Because
Egypt, you have a more variegated community.
yeah, exactly. So Egypt is more wide and is more the variety in Egypt is huge. And Egypt is such taking on its shoulder this huge and heavy um, responsibility of doing this. And I
Okay.
think that the scientists we have in Al-Azhar, you couldn't find in any other place.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's not an easy thing to go and take a certificate from Al-Azhar to be a da'iya or imam or something like that. Actually, it's very
I mean,
hard.
because of course, but I think if people would go there from France to Germany to Italy, from United Kingdom, I think they will not tell, forgive me the word, bullshit about Islam and convince people to do terrorist
No,
attacks
it's
or
not
to
like
do
that.
certain. Sorry.
Actually, Al-Azhar in its way to do his, they are doing this. They are doing this exchange program with the Muslim the countries that they are willing to do so. So we have exchange program with China, Indonesia, Korea, I think, Japan, the South Asian, the Asian countries, and even India. Even India, I
Yeah,
think.
because they have issues with the Muslim community, I remember. Yes.
So we have this exchange program, and
So I
we have.
think, so you think also Europe should do that to prevent this kind of risks?
I don't know if
So they
even if
should
you want
let
to
the
ask,
imam.
we have an international offices with all the languages in English, Italian, Spanish, all the languages, so you can call and ask whatever you wanted.
Okay. So they think then in this case it's a purpose for certain preachers or others to give a wrong, how can I say, interpretation of Islam, and to certain also to let Islamic people tell that their religion is their politics. Because
It's not just
one
about
of
that. We don't want the other people from other country, if they are not just, if they are not Muslims, to have a question mark.
okay,
So if you have a question that you wanted an answer for it, you don't have to be a Muslim to ask it. You don't have to be from a specific country to ask it. You can be from any country in the world, and you can find a place and find only they have an online platform. They have a call. You can call them. So you have people who the right people you can reach, and they give you the answer you are looking for.
Huh.
But of course, the exchange program will be a great way of doing this.
Daria, I have last news right now regarding the conflict, just for a curiosity to know your opinion, because the US is asking, it's telling that the Palestinian Authority should return, should have back all the control of the Palestinian zone, but everyone, all the parts, East Jerusalem, the Gaza Strip, and the West Bank. Would you agree with that?
What happened?
I send you the news in Italian on Telegram. I hope you can understand it. It's not too much difficult Italian for you. This one. Because the US president went to Palestine, he told that to have a diplomatic solution, the US is ready to let Mahmoud Abbas have power in all the Palestinian parts, not just in West Bank, to let them be part of the tables, the round
This is a
tables
funny.
for
This
the
you know
diplomatic.
what? This is a funny thing. It's a funny
Uh-huh.
just wasting of time thing. They just wanted to say we give them a solution, but they didn't accept. They know that Mahmoud Abbas, the Palestinians didn't consider Mahmoud Abbas their president.
Hey, you tell me that because it's a clown, he didn't do anything.
Exactly. So you put something like an image and you call it the president, and they have no powers and they are not doing anything, just sitting on the chair.
No, but no, but it was. Don't worry, it was just to ask these.
No, the only thing they could do is now, and they can't do this. They first of all they seize the fire,
Uh-huh.
and they call for the solve of the two states. This is
Okay,
I think this could maybe do something from my point of view. I don't know.
of course. Va bene, allora io ringrazio tutti quelli che ci sono stati, ringrazio Giuliano, ringrazio Dalia, spero che ti sei trovata bene, non ti sei trovata troppo aggredita o altro, che hai potuto avere una discussione civile, e spero non ti sei sentita censurata. Noi ci vediamo domenica prossima con un altro argomento. Ringrazio ovviamente Lorenzo, che anche lui ha fatto un aiuto tecnico quando non mi ricordavo qualcosa, insieme a Giuliano, per alcune fonti storiche. Noi ci rivediamo domenica con un altro argomento. Come sempre vi ricordo i canali social, e che potete vedere la puntata forse in replica su YouTube, perché ho paura che ci possa essere rischi che, essendo che parla del conflitto, ci possa essere della censura in generale. Ringrazio tutti quanti, come sempre vi auguro di volare in alto, puntare alle stelle e aspera ad astra, e ci vediamo alle 7:30 con Curse of the Dead Gods. Buona serata.
Ciao.
Buona serata a tutti.